Anyways, next we have Ozmafial. Fuka, a girl with amnesia who doesn't remember her own name, is rescued from the streets by members of the Oz family mafia. She begins trying to do her best in this dangerous city where several different rival mafia gangs are constantly at war for control and territory. So from what I've heard, this is a mix of Wizard of Oz mixed with mafia. Hence the name Ozmafial. Kind of like how Servamp before was a mix of servant and vampire. It makes sense when you watch the show. So this is like a thing. I don't get anything from this synopsis. It's just like there's a dangerous city where rival mafia gangs are doing a thing. And it's based off a game, so I assume like you're in one gang, or maybe you choose a gang and then you fight the other gangs, and yeah. Like I'm always reluctant. Well, man, I hope the helicopter isn't getting picked up. It probably is. Fuck. Anyways, and now it's hard to think because the fucking helicopter's whirring in my ears. Even with like the fucking window closed, it's so loud. Anyways, for the third time, it's hard to really get a gauge on like what the plot would be like in this because it's like it's based off a game, and I mean, we had Rage of Bahamut before that was based off a game, which was really good, but that had a great director. And to be fair, I haven't looked up the director for this or any of the other game-based ones at all, but it doesn't look that interesting. Like, they even look like sort of chibi characters, and it's hard to take chibi characters seriously because that kind of style is always like, don't take us seriously, basically. Like, you can't make a serious show with chibi characters just by inherent aesthetic design. Like, it doesn't work. There's too much of a clash. So, I don't know. Like, not to say that silly shows are bad or anything, it's just, like, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's just another thing that's based off a game that's probably not going to be that interesting. I'm making, again, judgment call. It isn't really interesting that much. I'm curious what the Wizard of Oz, thing comes in. I guess the Oz family mafia is going to be based on it somehow or something. I don't fucking know. Moving on, we have Mahou Shoujo Naria girls. Oh my god, it's Next Madoka Magical, look at that name. The story centers around three girls named Urara, Hanabi, and Inoho, who aim to become famous throughout Japan by creating anime renditions of themselves. To be a hit with everyone from kids to adults, they chose the theme of magical girls. Now they aim to broadcast their quarter of a year magical girl anime. Kind of interesting. They actually like made an anime of themselves in their, magical girl forms, and they want to get it aired now. It's kind of like Shirobako and how the characters like wanted to make a show together. Although obviously it wasn't to put them in it necessarily. It was just that they all worked on a show and it aired. This is actually kind of interesting. It's also interesting that it's original. It's not based on anything. So it's like, Also interesting is the production company Bouncy. Never heard of them before, but it's probably another one of those companies that did a couple shorts here or there, maybe like one or two shows that I just didn't watch, and so I don't know about them. But Bouncy sounds new too. So that's interesting. I actually wouldn't mind watching this. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a short. Usually studios with like names you've never heard before tend to do shorts. That's why I'm thinking it's a short. But maybe it isn't. But it seems interesting, like these girls trying to get, an anime of renditions of themselves and his show aired on television. I don't know if it'll be a realistic portrayal or an idealistic one, but it could be interesting seeing how it does it. Yeah, next is Regalia, the Three Sacred Stars. 12 years ago, in the country of Rimgard, a big incident left an unsolved mystery that has begun to fade from people's memories. Time passes, and sisters Yui and Rina are living peacefully in the Inestri Empire. However, one day, a large mecha attacks Inestria. This day marks the turning point when the two girls get caught in the vortex of fate. So interesting enough is, like, this is based off, on, again, nothing. Another show that's original, which I usually tend to give original shows, like, interest to begin with because they're original. And so you can do pretty much anything with them. Like, you have no restraints. You don't have to follow a source material or anything. Although, you can still take liberties with the source material. Although, look what fucking happens when you do that. People get so mad when you take... I'm not going to get into it. I'm just going to get people mad at me. By the way, in case you couldn't understand because you didn't watch those videos, I love the Tokyo Ghoul anime. And people who say it was bad because it didn't follow manga could shut up. I like how I told myself to shut up to not get people angry at me, and then I said it anyways. So this could be interesting because it's original work. There are a lot of girls in that promo material, and there's like the one dude in the back who looks, or maybe that's a girl too, I can't tell. It's kind of interesting. There's some weird looking mecha designs in the back, which are interesting. Also another studio, Actus, haven't heard of them before. Doesn't seem like it'd be a short, though. It doesn't look like it has the art style that'd be a short. So it seems like it probably is full length, but never heard of the studio before. Again, they've probably done some shorts and stuff here or there, or they maybe have done 1 or 2 shows I just didn't end up watching. Who knows? It's a pretty generic synopsis, though. Like, they're just living peacefully in their empire, and then a large mecha attacks, and then they need to, like, do stuff to, like, get revenge or something. It always comes down to context. It's always impossible to make judgment calls with synopsis other than just, like, a reason to not watch something or a reason to watch something, because context is always so important, but it's impossible to watch everything, at least enough episodes of everything to see where it's going. Like, it's always hard to see where, like, not always, but there are some shows where it's hard to see where they're going with their plot off the first episode, so you have to watch more to see where it's going if you like the direction it's taking. It's really hard to say. There's always exceptions. Sometimes you can tell based on first episodes, but who knows. But yeah, I want to watch it just because it's original. Like, usually I pick up original shows just to see how they do context-wise. As far as, like, how they handle what they're doing. Which isn't to say that I don't pick up manga adaptations or light novel adaptations because, like, they're inherently going to handle it badly. It's just that, like, okay, I hate that people are making judgment calls on light novels nowadays because light novels. Like, it's a reason a lot of people aren't watching Re:Zero, because they're like, it's a light novel, and they're not even watching the show or giving it a shot. And it's stupid. Like, making judgment calls on a show just because of its source material is dumb. Because the thing is that people shouldn't be, like, saying light novels are shit. The problem is that, like, the things that are selling are light novel adaptations of things that suck. So more of those kinds of things get chosen for adaptation. So tons of light novels get adapted that are like, who fucking cares? It's dumb crap. But the last thing that was like it sold well, so they're just trying to follow. It's always just following the money. That's all it ever is. Though there's plenty of light novels out there that are good. Like, Log Horizon's a fucking light novel. People like that. Re:Zero is a light novel, which is great, and people need to give it a shot if there's stupid light novel bias. So it's not the source material in and of itself that I'm making the judgment call on. I'm making a judgment call that it's based on the source material, because of the fact that it's probably that type of story because it was chosen for adaptation. Like, they saw it and said, we could potentially make money off of this because something like it sold well. That's what I'm making call off, which is probably which is really a very convoluted way of saying, like, why I'm not picking up source material or not picking up stuff that's based on other materials, but whatever. Hopefully it made sense to some people. But yeah, it's original. I'm probably gonna watch Regalia after I'm done recording this. I was gonna watch it before I recorded, but I was like, I should probably record now. So I did. But I'll watch it after that and do that. The next one is, oh god damn it, Majestic Hour. I want to watch Majestic Prince again. Majestic Prince was great, man. Like, I doubt this Majestic Hour version is gonna be on anywhere at all. But if they have if that episode that I have to watch, if anyone releases episode 25 of it, because there's an episode 25 that's being added to the show that's gonna tie the plot into the movie that they're working on for it. God, Majestic Prince was so good. Like, if you can look past the, like, really old school, like, slightly crude character designs, like, Majestic Prince is so good. And it's a perfect example of a show of, like, where CG can go if you know what you're doing. Like, the CG mecha fights, like, not all of them. Some of them are just, like, you know, not really much going on in the fight to do anyways. But, like, there are so many good, like, fights in the CG mechas that, like, look amazing. Like, especially when they're fighting, like, other mechs. Like, oh my god, like, it looks so fucking good. It's the same studio that does the CG stuff for the Code Geass OVAs. So, like, they're really, really good when it comes to, like, action-packed CG stuff. So, god, like, if you haven't watched Majestic Prince yet, watch Majestic Prince. It's so good. Like, it was one of those shows where, like, you start watching it and it's just kind of like, okay, at first, there's, like, these little hints here and there of, like, something greater. And you're just like, I want to keep watching this. I want to see where it goes. And then by the end, you're like, damn, that was pretty good. Damn. Like, it's not a show that's going to top any lists. Like, it's not like the most incredible, underrated gem ever unwatched. But it's a really, really, really likable show. It really is. You should really watch it if you haven't yet and you have time. Majestic Prince was great. Moving on. We have also, by the way, Majestic Prince, done by Doga Kobo. And then orange is the people who do the CG stuff. But yeah, Tokukobo. This is, again, Tokukobo. Another reason besides Nozaki-kun that I like to watch their shows. They like to adapt stuff that's pretty cool. Moving on, we have Handa-kun, which is a spin-off, which is a prequel to Barakamon. So it basically has all the things... Well, it doesn't have all the things that you liked about Barakamon. This old, jaded... Well, not old, but this, like, middle-aged... Not even middle-aged. This young adult that's jaded goes off to, like, the secluded island to live with a bunch of kids and, like, you know, random rural people. And then, you know, stuff happens. And that's what people liked about it. And then this is just him being in a class. That's it. He's just worshipped by his classmates as an aloof superstar, and his inherent negativity makes him believe that everyone actually hates him. Wow. That doesn't even seem... I mean, I guess that is actually a continuation of his character from before. It sounds like it's a slight misinterpretation, though. But then again, it has been a while since Barakamon aired. But yeah, it's basically like none of the things that made Barakamon interesting in a show. I mean, watch it if you like Barakamon, I guess. Just don't expect it to be as likable as Barakamon, because odds are the reason you like Barakamon isn't going to be in this show. But who knows? So I have no interest in it because the few things, like I didn't like Barakamon that much, but the things I did like about it definitely aren't in this. So I don't really care. Moving on, we have Kono Bijutsubu, what the fuck? Kono Bijutsubu Niwa Mondai Garu. The story focuses on an art club in a certain middle school, and its members, Subaru Ichimaki, who is a genius at drawing faces but only wants to draw the perfect 2D wife, Colette, a rich troublemaker who never stops making mischief, and the club president who sleeps through sessions and collects sleeping aids. Mizuki Isami is the only person in the club who wants to do art club-like activities and constantly struggles to do so. So this is obviously a comedy. I actually am planning to watch this after I'm done recording also. It's another show that came out today. This is the second of 3 shows that I'm planning to watch after I'm done recording this, and I want to see how it goes. I liked Anna Happy last season, which was a pretty good comedy. This isn't even being done by Silverblink or anything. It's being done by Feel, but Feel's got pretty good animators. They did second season of My Teen Love comedy Safu that everyone liked. It had a lot of really good subtle motion animation that I saw people posting on Twitter. And then not so subtle animation like the concert scene, which was in the first episode. So I saw those. So Feel puts up some pretty good stuff as far as production values. And it seems like a pretty fun comedy, a bunch of wacky characters in a club doing shit, so that could be fun. So I'll watch the first episode after I record this and see how I feel about it. Moving on, we have the second season of, I don't remember the English title, but it's like Earth Love Comedy Defense Force or something. So if you watch the first season of that, here's the second season. Otherwise, there you go. Next we have Planetarian, Chiisana Hoshi no Yume. Humanity is nearly extinct. A perpetual and deadly rain falls on the earth. Men known as junkers plunder goods and artifacts from the ruins of civilization. One such junker sneaks alone into the most dangerous of all ruins, a sarcophagus city. There he discovers a pre-war planetarium, and as he enters, is greeted by Hoshino Yumemi, a companion robot. Without a single shred of doubt, she assumes he is the first customer she's had in 30 years. She attempts to show him the stars at once, but the planetarium projector is broken, unable to make heads or tails of her conversation. He ends up agreeing to try and repair the projector. And there's something about this being streamed on Nico Nico Dogo, which is weird. So, at first I wasn't going to watch this because it's being based on a visual novel that I think I've seen before, which was just like, alright. It's interesting that it's being done by David Production, which I guess they have enough people now that they have the people who aren't working on JoJo did this. Because David Production are obviously busy doing JoJo stuff. So I guess they had enough spare people around, or they had enough free time that they also did this. And that's honestly the main reason I'm watching it. I want to see David Production's B team working on something. I want to see what it looks like. I want to see how it comes across and such. So that's the main reason I'm going to watch it. That's why it's the third show of 3 shows that I'm watching after I record this today. So I'm interested to see how it is. It could be interesting. But who knows? I'm mainly watching it based on the production studio. Like I said, I've seen the visual novel. It was, assuming I'm remembering the right one, because there's a lot of fucking visual novels out there. Assuming it's the one I think it is, it was alright. But that's it. So, I don't know. It could end up being completely dumb or boring or whatever. Who knows? Also, I just glanced at the rest of this chart. I have a lot more to do. Fuck, I need to speed up. I thought I was going fast. I wasn't going fast enough. I need to harness my inner Sonic and go faster. I actually did go through a lot of shows. I just need to go faster. Next we have Amanchu. The story follows the everyday lives of the members of the diving club in the city of Ito in Shizuoka Prefecture. This is easy to recommend because I didn't do the research, but I heard through sheer osmosis, this is adapted from the same dude who did Aria. If you liked Aria, you'll probably like this. If you didn't like Aria, you probably won't like this. And if you haven't seen Aria, who fucking knows if you'll like this? Aria, as far as I'm aware of, I haven't seen it, but it's like a very light, not necessarily lighthearted, but it's a very casual kind of show. Like, not a whole lot happens. People just, I think Aria is more about the scenery and the atmosphere rather than anything actually happening in it. It's kind of like a feel-good show in a way. Like, you just kind of watch it to relax, as far as I'm aware of. So this is kind of similar as far as I'm aware of. But yeah. So if that sounds like interesting to you, maybe give it a shot. Otherwise, I don't know. Like I said, Aria is going to be the easiest way to judge if you're going to probably like it or not, since it's by the same guy. So there you go. Next we have Nejimaki, Seirei, Senkt, Tenkyou, no Alderamin. Yeah, that's a word. That's a sentence or a title. The Katavana Empire is at war with the neighboring Republic of Kyoka. In the Katavana Empire, the lazy, woman-admiring Ikuta hates war, but due to certain circumstances, he grudgingly takes the high-grade military officer exam. No one would have expected that this 17-year-old young man would eventually become a soldier called a great commander by others. Ikuta survives this world engulfed in war with his superior intellect. So basically, it's a dude getting fights won because he's smart and stuff. Seems kind of interesting. Here you go. Just what I was saying before, a light novel, but it doesn't look like your typical light novel now, does it? I mean, it does say that he's a woman-admiring guy, but, you know, its tags are largely action, adventure, and fantasy, so it could be interesting. And it's also like a wartime kind of thing. Like, I'm assuming he has a squad he tries to keep alive, pretty much. So, it could be cool. It kind of, like, just aesthetically kind of reminds me of, not the characters, but, like, you know, the weapons and the costumes, or not the costumes, the uniforms and stuff remind me a lot of, what's that one game? The one with the fucking tanks. It's on Steam now. It has a very good Steam port. Shit. Valkyria Chronicles. That's what it's called. It reminds me of that. Just based off costumes and weapons and stuff. It kind of looks like that. I don't know if it'll be anything like it, but that's just what it reminded me of. I'll watch it. I kind of want to see what it's like. So, it could be interesting. It's also being done by Madhouse, which everyone now loves because of, it was One Punch Man, right? That they did? I'm pretty sure they were the one on One Punch Man. But the thing is, Madhouse didn't really do One Punch Man. The director was like an animator dude who had like a bunch of friends and he got them to help out and do stuff. So a lot of the people who worked on that show weren't in-house Madhouse people. So they're getting a little bit of credit where they don't necessarily deserve it. Like, everyone wants Madhouse to return to their former glory, but Madhouse has been kind of shit. And then One Punch Man was the exception. And then the funny thing is, like, they're technically an exception to the exception because they weren't really in-house. So, yeah. Kind of hard to say whether the production will be good or not on this. But yeah, so it's hard to say on that regards, but I'm interested in seeing how it plays out. It's a light novel that's, wartime squad shit, so kind of interesting. Moving on, we have 91 Days. During the Prohibition era, a man named Avalio seeks revenge against his friend Nero, a future mafioso, for the death of his family. Obviously, the first thing I think of when I see the promo image and such is Joker game, which just finished airing. But it's being done by Shuka, which are the people who did the Durarara sequels, and something else, I think. I don't remember what it was, though. But yeah, they did the Durarara sequels, and now they're doing this. And based on promo material I've seen, it looks like they actually learned how to animate. Like, I'm sorry. Like, Durarara is great and all, but oh my god, like, sometimes the animation is just a complete joke. Like, the production values just completely shit themselves sometimes. So hopefully that doesn't happen to this show, but from the promo materials it looks pretty good, but it could all be from the first episode, who knows. So this seems like a show a lot of people will probably pick up. It's literally got one tag, drama, which seems a little off because obviously there's going to be some guns and, you know, shooting and shit, so a bit of action in there, obviously. But I guess it probably won't be the focus, so that's why it's not really action. It seems like a show a lot of people are probably going to pick up because they're like, oh my god, it's serious and mature and mafioso and Prohibition era, and it's kind of like silly to pick it up just because of that, but it's an original work, so another reason to like nudge people into watching it. So I'm curious to see what Shuka can do. I want to see them do something, because I'm pretty sure, I don't remember what they did that was other than the Durarara sequel, but I don't think it was an original work. So this would be their first original work if that's the case. But again, I could be horribly wrong. I don't remember the first show they did. So I'm kind of interested to see how they handle it, since it's, like I said, I assume their first original work. But it could be wrong. And it looks like it could be interesting too. Like the drama of like this dude trying to get revenge for his families could be pretty cool. But yeah. Next we have Time Travel Shoujo, Mari Waka to 8 nin Mori I'm sorry. Mari Waka to 8 nin no Kakakusha Tachi. Mari Hyaze is on a mission to go back in time and meet 8 of the most prominent scientists and inventors in history with the help of her 2 friends, Waka Mizuki and Jun Mizuki. I guess they're sibling friends. She'll find herself up close and personal with famous figures like Benjamin Franklin, Alexander Graham Bell, Thomas Edison, and so many more. This dude must really like Western historical figures, because that's all Western historical figures. Interesting enough, is this based on a book? I wonder if it's based on, like, an educational book where it, like, teaches you about those people. It seems like it's probably not that interesting. It's probably a short, too. It's probably just, like, a short where they meet a different historical figure each time and they have, like, a brief chat, basically. It's probably not a huge deal. Don't really care too much about it. I got enough history class with, well, history class, so I don't really need to watch it. Who knows, it could turn out to be amazing, but I'll hear if it is, so I don't know. I don't really care that enough, just based on this. Next we have Hitori no Shida, the Outcast. Cho Soren leads a very common college student's life until he finds himself caught up in a terrible incident that happened in a small village. As he was walking through a graveyard, he is assaulted by zombies. Thinking that it was over for him, a mysterious girl carrying a sword suddenly saves him and disappears. And then there's a footnote, apparently. Shanghai Inman is planning the anime, and animation production will take place in Japan. Chinese web company Tencent owns the rights to the original comic. So this is based on a Chinese webcomic. Interesting. So, I guess it could be it could be interesting in that regard, just because it's, not Japanese source material, so the, like, approach to story and such could be decently different. I don't really care, because it's zombies. I've had enough of zombies. Cabaneri was also zombies, but that turned out horribly, so who fucking cares? I don't really care. I'll hear what people think. It could be interesting because it's not based on Japanese source material, so the approach to story and characters and such could be different, but who knows? Moving on, we have Qualidea Code. I need to hurry up. The story takes place in a world where humans are continuing to fight a war against an enemy called Unknown. Wow, such a great name. Unknown invaded several decades ago, and children entered a cold sleep to escape the invasion. When the children awoke, they found themselves with supernatural powers. How do you get supernatural powers in cold sleep? Anyways, the children set up defense cities in Tokyo, Kanagawa, and Chiba in order to protect the country from the Unknown, who appear through the Tokyo Bay Gate. So this sounds like, your standard fare when it comes to shows like this. But then it gets interesting. You look a bit further down this, and you see that it's an original work. So that's kind of interesting, and you could think, well, maybe it's an original work, but they just aren't creative. And that's true. It could definitely be a possibility. But also think about this. It's A1 Pictures. A1 Pictures tends to adapt to lots of things. They don't usually do their own original work. I don't even remember the last time A1 Pictures did an original work. Although they've done a lot of shows, so then again, it could be very easy to miss. I'm curious to see how it handles it. Like, when it's based on an original work, like, it doesn't have to worry about pacing in regards to, the new medium, because you have to portray things differently than the source material when you adapt them. Like, you can't just copy things panel for panel. Like, it just ends up being boring. And it just sucks. Like, you have to make changes to source material to make it work in new formats. Like, that's why the mediums are fucking different to begin with. But, with it being an original work, it'd be interesting to see how the approach goes. Who really knows? I want to pick it up just because I want to see how it does what it does. Who knows? Moving on, we have Ange Vierge. The story of the original card game follows what happens when Hyro portals suddenly open, thus fusing 3 different worlds together. As a result, various mysterious Exceed powers are awakened in teenage girls. An academy for these so-called progress girls is built on the isolated Saren Island in the Pacific. It was interesting until it said they were going to a school. It could still be interesting. It's based on a card game, which is like, okay. But then it's being done by Silverlink, who usually do pretty good stuff. So it's like, interesting. And I think Silverlink are doing something else this season that I already covered that I already forgot. So, that's a thing. Oh yeah, they're doing the Fate Ilia sequel, which is probably a lot of their main force, honestly, since they managed to get 3 seasons of it. Or 4, who knows. I almost want to watch it just because I want to see how they handle it. Like, it's probably a show that I'll know after the first episode whether I want to watch it or not. simply based on what it is, a card game adaptation. So I kind of want to watch the first episode just to see how it handles what it does, but who knows how that goes. Like I said, it's Silverlink, so that could be very interesting. Just based on like seeing the production values of something like this. Like we've had a card game based game or show before that turned out very well, and who knows, maybe eventually we'll have a second one. Thanks Windows 10. I really needed to know that. I really needed to hear that alert. Thanks. I'm glad that probably picked up on the microphone. Anyways, moving on, we have the sequel to the Active Rage show, which if you've seen the first season, then you should watch this, or you could watch this. If you haven't, then you probably shouldn't. I watched the first season. It was okay. It was all right. It was largely conclusive though. I don't know why there's a second season, so that's kind of weird. I'll probably watch it just because I watched the first season, and that's the kind of mentality I have. I'm like, well, I watched the first season, may as well watch this one. I'm curious what they'll do for the plot because it largely wrapped up last time. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, moving on, we have Danganronpa 3, the end of Kibagaka when Mirai Hen. And there's a second Danganronpa thing that I'll cover, but I have to cover the in-between before that because they air at different times. The world was close to being... who fucking cares? It's Danganronpa. Basically, there's something... I don't know what it is. It's basically like... it's like the third one sequentially in the story, and then the other one is like a sequel to Danganronpa 2 or something? I don't know. It's confusing. I don't know why anyone would be excited for this, though. Like... I get that Danganronpa has a large fan base, larger than Zero Escape, which pisses me off. Zero Escape came out before Danganronpa, and it's still more popular than Zero Escape. Do you know how many people I watched play Zero Time Dilemma, and so many fucking people were like, is this a Danganronpa ripoff? And I wanted to fucking kill them. Danganronpa is the Zero Escape ripoff, if anything. Anyways, like, the number of Zero Escape references in Danganronpa 2 is incredible. Like, it's actually absurd. Anyways, that aside, I don't know why anyone would be happy for this, because despite the fan base, the first Danganronpa anime was complete garbage. It sucked ass. Why would anyone be like, oh yay, more Danganronpa, woohoo, just what I wanted. Like, why would anyone be excited for this? I get that it's like original technically, because it's a story that's like made just for the show, or like just for the anime, but like, who fucking cares? Like, and isn't Seiji Kishi back to direct this? Like, he didn't do a good job with the first one. Why the fuck would it be any different here? Again, I don't know why anyone would be excited for this. The first one sucked ass, and I don't see why this would change anything at all. So, yeah. Moving on to a show that people are probably more excited for, and rightfully so, is Mob Psycho 100. The story revolves around Mob, a boy who will explode if his emotional capacity reaches 100%. This boy with psychic powers earned his nickname Mob because he does not stand out among other people. He keeps his psychic powers bottled up so he can live normally, but if his emotional level reaches 100, something will overwhelm his entire body. So obviously everyone knows this as the other work done by that guy who made One Punch Man. What's more interesting is this adaptation is not being done by Madhouse, it's done by a different team over at Bones, although a couple of the animators could be returning, who knows. Based on the promo materials, the art, as far as like the little character designs, does look like this in the show, like based on promo materials, which is maybe disappointing for people that liked One Punch Man's slightly more normal, realistic, well not realistic, but normal anime style designs. This is more close to the actual art, because one's art is kind of not great. One Punch Man only had great art when it was picked up in an official manga and it had an actual artist like work on it. But despite like keeping the like somewhat lackluster character designs, the animation is still top notch. Like, it seems like Bones is fully aware that people are expecting, have expectations going into this based on what happened with One Punch Man. So they're kicking the animation notch up to keep up with that, because the animation still looks pretty fucking good from the previews that we've seen. It's just the art style of like the actual characters is just this. So, which is fine. Like, the more crude art style of the characters may help them as far as like having more time to do the animated scenes, and maybe the animated scenes are easier to do because of the character designs. Who knows? But yeah, everyone's excited for this. I mean, I'm not necessarily excited for it, but I'm looking forward to watching it. See how it goes. It'll be interesting. If anything, I'm more curious to see if I like it more or less than One Punch Man. That'll be interesting to see. That's gonna be the real interesting thing to see. It's not just myself, but whether people in general like it more or less than One Punch Man. My prediction: people like it less than One Punch Man. I don't think people will hate it, but they'll like One Punch Man more. I don't know what I'll think though, because I obviously have no idea. I haven't seen it. Next we have the other Danganronpa 3 thing I was mentioning. This is apparently like a sequel to Danganronpa 2. It's something about what happened to the characters or something. Well, it says in the footnote, the anime will illustrate what happened to the characters before the events of the game. So I guess it's actually a prequel to Danganronpa 2? I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? Who gives a shit? First Danganronpa anime was shit. Who gives a fuck? Yes, I'm mad that it's more popular than Zero Escape. Lay off. Anyways, that's a thing that's airing. Moving on, we have Battery, which is being done by a studio called Zero G, which is another one I've never heard before, or just never noticed. Takumi Harada moves to a mountain town in Okayama Prefecture during the spring break before he enters middle school due to his father's job transfer. Takumi is a pitcher, and after the move, he soon loses faith in his own talent. But suddenly his classmate Ko Nakagura appears in front of him. Ko has a strong desire to form a battery, a combination of a pitcher and catcher, with Takumi. So, most interesting to know about this is that this is the Noidamine show for the season, which are shows that, with exception, Guilty Crown, usually turn out very good. So, I mean, there's a couple divisive shows where people can't really agree on whether it was good or not. But for the most part, Noidamine tends to put out pretty good stuff. I usually pick up Noidamine shows just as a habit, just because they usually turn out pretty solid. So it'll be interesting to see this one. And this one is a sports one. So that means I'll be watching 2 sport shows this season, although on completely different sports. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, there's not much really to add. It'll probably be very character focused, as a lot of Noidamine shows tend to be. The main crux of the time slot was to air stuff that like isn't typical anime fare, but obviously Guilty Crown happened, and there were a couple exceptions in that regard. But very typically, the Noidamine shows, regardless of like the actual plot content, tend to have very good character writing. Like I remember a lot of people were lackluster about Nananana's Buried Treasure, but I really liked the character writing in that. There was a lot of interesting stuff they did with the characters in that. I liked it. I really hope that they go back to that at some point. I'd like a second season or something of it. It was cool. Or maybe I'll read the source material. I don't remember if it was based on a light novel or not, or a manga. Probably a light novel. But yeah, this is based on an actual novel, which is something to remember. So was Joker Game. So I guess inherently it's already different from the usual anime fare because, again, based on an actual novel. It'll be interesting to see the character writing, because that's, like I said, what usually shines on anime shows. So that'll be cool to see. Next we have, what the fuck is that, a penis? Onara Gorou. The story follows the everyday life of Gorou, the most admirable of farts, as he solves problems in ways that only a fart can. That's some fucking NA humor right there. Anyways, moving on. Not even gonna regard that. We have the sequel. Well, it says it's related to the previous season of Seven Deadly Sins. What sucks about this is it's only 4 episodes long. Because it shares this. Seven Deadly Sins and Arslan Senki had the same time slot, and they aired in different seasons, and now this season they're airing in the same time slot, which is why Arslan Senki is 8 episodes long, and then the remainder 4 weeks are going to be Seven Deadly Sins. So that equals a total of 12 episodes. So it's kind of unfortunate that these 2 shows got cut short. It seems like this is a time slot to watch out for, because Arslan Senki and Seven Deadly Sins aired on them, which were both very fun shows, very likable. So definitely a time slot I'm going to keep an eye on from now on as far as what airs in it. It could be another one just like Noidamine A, where it's sort of an automatic pickup, because they tend to air pretty good stuff. Just based on those 2, I don't know what they aired beforehand. But yeah, that's the last thing on the chart. I mean, there wasn't much for you to say about Seven Deadly Sins. I mean, if you've seen it, you want to watch more. If you haven't, then there's no point. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. I'm just browsing through the OVAs right now, and I don't really have anything to say. Like, hey, did you know a show that you aired got an OVA? Like, who cares? Like, it's not a big deal. Movie-wise, there doesn't seem to be anything too interesting here. Another Pokemon movie's gonna come out. Whoopee. That Final Fantasy 15 Kingsglaive movie is gonna air in Japan. We'll get that later. At some point. We'll get a limited theater broadcasting, apparently, and then it'll come out with the release of the game. There's also something about Kizumonogatari 2. did the first Kizumonogatari movie actually air? Like, did Kizumonogatari actually happen finally? I don't keep up with it because I don't care much about Monogatari, but I thought that never aired. But anyways, that was summer season. Not a bad amount of time to cover all this. Not a horrible length of time. It's about standard with what I do. Actually, a bit shorter probably. And there were about just as many shows, so I think I did an alright job. Working on getting it a bit shorter, but at the same time, people like me rambling about stupid shit for whatever reason, so hey, maybe I should keep the length of what it is. But yeah, that'll do it, and I'll see you guys, well, I might see you tomorrow for the Saturday morning ramblings, because I don't know when this is coming up. Hopefully I can get this up day of, which means 2 days until Saturday morning ramblings, because it's Thursday right now. But odds are, with the amount of editing I have to do, it won't be until Friday. But who knows? Who knows what'll happen? It'll either come out today or tomorrow. It won't be longer than that. And then I need to get back to watching stuff, because I seriously need to finish watching the show that I need to review next, because it's the one everyone voted for 10,000 subs. And that was kind of a long time ago. I'm kind of keeping people waiting. I knew it was a bad idea to let you guys choose. Not because of, like, the show choice or anything, but, like, just because I knew I'd have to watch something, and then it would take me fucking forever to get through it, because that's how it takes me to watch stuff. Because I have to watch everything that's currently airing, and then watching a show that's already finished airing alongside that is, like, a lot of work. Especially last season, where I had, like, really, really busy weekends as far as, like, shows that came out. It was a nightmare. Oh my god. Anyways, I need to get around to doing that, so that'll do it for this season, and I'll see you guys in whatever next video comes out, which will probably be Saturday morning ramblings, because I don't think I can finish watching a show and review it and record it and edit it in a day. So that'll be next. But otherwise, there you go. So see you guys next time.